Right now, we're going to welcome in Adrian Yanez, co-main event LFA 7. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. And yourself?
I'm doing great. Fight week in your hometown. Thoughts on competing there, right there in Houston, where you're from?
Come again, sir?
Thoughts on competing there in Texas, in your home state?
Oh man, I love it. It's really easy. You train at home, you fight at home. It makes it all easier. You have all the people you love around you. It's always fun. It's always great. I love competing here in Houston.
Legacy FC and now Legacy Fighting Alliance. You've got to be on that Access TV spotlight. What are your thoughts about the televisedness and getting to get your name out there?
Oh man, I absolutely love it. I'm blessed to be in the position I am. I was blessed to be put in the position I am. You know, like everything's been falling into place, and I love it. Any exposure is good exposure. I'm trying to get out there. I'm trying to make my name for myself, and I'm trying to get out there and trying to live my dreams. So it's a blessing. I love it all. I love it all.
Have you had to get innovative or creative in any way with trying to do that, with trying to get your name out there?
Not really. I believe in hard work and just being a good person overall will help get you out there. Sometimes it might take a little bit of work. Sometimes you might have to be a little flamboyant here and there. But I choose not to go that fast. I wasn't raised that way, so I'd rather just work my butt off and keep moving forward. The more work you put in, the more satisfying it feels when you get that victory, and when you do end up getting noticed. It feels so much better. It feels like the hard work you've been putting in is paying off.
It takes a lot of hard work and it's a long road. Where do you get the work ethic and the determination from?
I grew up with both parents working. Both parents working, both putting food on the table. My dad was the main breadwinner, but my mom at times would have 2 to 3 jobs. It, she worked a lot. My dad worked a lot, and my dad put that work. My mom and dad put that work ethic in me and my brother. Raised us up very well. So seeing good work ethic coming up, being raised, is a blessing. And as soon as I got to Metro Fight Club, I saw everybody else working to get what they wanted, and then I also see somebody like Coach Saul Solis, putting in work every single day, like he was, like he was and is, in making fighters live their dream and let them live their dream, and letting other people reach their goals. In martial arts or in fitness. So it's just all about me. So it just work ethic breeds work ethic whenever you're around it. That's what happened.
What does MMA mean to you? Why did you jump into this game?
I've always wanted to be a boxer because I always loved the little challenge. Two people step in there, only one person gets their hand raised, one person loses or can't be draw. But, you go in there and you're just trying to see who's mentally stronger, who's physically better. It's just all about the competition. I've always been somewhat a competitor. I always wanted to do better for myself. I always wanted to perform better. I always put myself at a higher standard when it came to competition. I always felt like I could do more. I could do more. I could do more. And that's where I've been putting myself. And then whenever I saw MMA for the first time, I fell in love with it. And it just happened from there. It started off as something small with just jiu-jitsu, and then to kickboxing, and then my amateur fights, and now my pro. I just want to keep progressing, and that's what I feel good at, and I just love MMA. You can never stop growing, and that's the best part of it.
Which part of the game did you take to first?
Well, I started off with jiu-jitsu, and I absolutely loved it, but I've always been in love with boxing. So once I started getting in there and started doing my striking, it took over a lot for me. But uh, every part I love, but I just love the hands. I love the striking a lot more.
Coming up, growing up, who were those boxers that you were looking up to that you wanted to be like?
Oh, two main ones that just looking up at, I would have to say Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, I love watching his fights. I like at times, I kind of try to emulate to be a little bit like him. But and then there's another person. It was kind of one of those like even though you like both fighters, you still had to see the fight. Like I like Floyd Mayweather just because he was a tactical genius. Whenever it came to the boxing ring, it came like growing up, I was more Pacquiao, but now like whenever I was growing up and started seeing like how he was in the boxing ring and not outside the ring, it just brought a different type of like genius into it, and I loved it.
And getting in there now, do you feel that you're able to take some of that stuff away that you were watching for them and implement it into your MMA game?
Oh yes, Manny Pacquiao, because he cut off the angles, especially when he would go southpaw. I try to emulate it going the right way. Being a orthodox fighter, I'm able to switch both that southpaw and orthodox. But I take a couple things here and there. I don't really do the Philly shell too much, but I try to make my jab really really good. Seeing how good Floyd Mayweather was with it, and to hit and not to be hit. Looking at the way they fought.
Right? You yourself right now, you got a ton of momentum, a 4-fight win streak. How does that feel to have been able to string together the wins?
Well, the two first fights, they were against people who didn't really have any names. I had people pull out. So I really don't look at those fights, too much too well. I look at my last two, and that was Ryan Hollis and Colin Wright, and I'm very proud of those wins. But I don't really look back too much. I tend to look forward. So I really don't pay attention to my streak. I don't keep them going. I'm looking forward to my next fight, and that's where my head's at. I don't really like looking back unless I'm looking for mistakes that I can better myself at.
Well, coming off that last fight, Legacy 59, where did you want to go grow at then immediately?
I wanted to be a little bit more mentally, mentally stronger. I felt like mentally stronger as in mentally smarter, if that makes sense. But wanted to be mentally smarter because I went in there and I thought I could knock out Colin Wright. I thought I was going to go in there and just start him and flatten him out, but that didn't happen. So I had to readjust myself and then reassess the situation of what positions I've been was putting in, what I needed to do to find the mark, find his chin, find some takedowns, find the opening shots for my hands, and I had to take a step back. I went in there kind of a little too careless, and that's why I got hit. I got clipped on the way in, and it stumbled me a little bit, but I was able to come back. So that's where I wanted to be. That's where I wanted to be mentally better. But looking at that fight, I'd say everything went well. I just needed to be mentally smarter.
Is it also good to test yourself afterwards when you're able to think, I battled through a little bit of adversity in that one?
Yeah, it was good. I knew even though I got shooken up a little bit that I was able to come back and come out strong and actually get the finish. That's what made it a little bit more satisfying to me. I've been through adversity before, so getting over that little adversity gave me a little bit more confidence in what I do.
For this one, co-main event, looking forward, looking towards bigger, brighter things. What do you think of that platform First off, just knowing that you get something like that, a co-main event spot.
Um, the co-main event spot is like I said before, it's a blessing. You know, I love the fact that I was able to get that spot. You know, it like everything's been falling into place. All I gotta do is just seize the moment and take what's mine. You know, it's a blessing. You know, everything's lined up for me to move forward and progress. You know, so I'm extremely happy, and it means a lot to me. So I'm wanting and willing to go forward with what I'm doing.
Last time you fought, Domingo, who you'll be facing, fought on the same card. Did you watch his fight? Did you get to watch it that night?
Yeah, actually, we've been on a couple cars together. You know, we always kind of like cross paths a little bit. You know, I saw his fight. You know, I kind of look at it like this a little bit. You know, like my last two fights are way better than his last two fights. You know, if you look at who he fought, look at who he fought his out of his last two. I guess like the guy was like 4-12, and his last guy he fought was 5-5. You know, and then you look at my guy who was like Ryan Hollis, who's 11-6, I believe, or 10-6, versus a guy who, and then Colin Wright was 5-2 at the time. You know, so I felt like I had the stiffer competition coming in. You know, and Domingo wasn't. You know, so that's the way I look at it. You know, I kind of looked at it. You know, but at the same time, I took a close look, but I didn't really watch too much of it. You know, because there wasn't much to go off his last fight. So I give him props for putting that guy away because he was supposed to.
When you do that in 38 seconds, and like you said, the guy was just 5-5. So do you think this will be a harsh reality check coming up, taking on a guy of your caliber, when in his recent fights, he's been on a 3-fight win streak, but nobody with a pleasant-looking record?
Yeah, I think it is it can be a harsh reality, but it can also be a momentum gainer. You know, he's putting these guys away that he's supposed to put away, so he probably has a lot of confidence inside him. You know, so I put no doubt that he's gonna have a harsh reality check or anything like that. You know, I would like to put one into him. March 24th, you know, when we fight, I would like to put him into a reality check of me being better, but we have to fight to determine that, and I believe I will. But at the same time, you know, I'm taking him as a serious opponent because he's 6-1 for a reason. Even though they weren't against the best guy records, you know, he built up that record. He was finishing people, submitting them, and knocking them out. So you have to respect the guy.
Talking about that record thing, though, would you say if he beats you, it's a bigger win for him than it is for you? Because when you look at the records,
I believe it would. I believe it would be, but I don't even like to think like that. He's fought some guys. He fought Cal Machado. You know, that's his biggest name on his record, and he lost. But no, like I said, I want to go in there and give him a harsh reality check, and it doesn't matter. You know, he has a really good record, and I would like to have his name on my win column.
switching to another topic, I gotta say, some of the stuff I've heard is quite unbelievable about you. 2 fights with a broken jaw and 1 with the shattered nose. Do you just not care when you're in the moment? Do you not feel it?
Well, I fought with I had fractured my jaw over the summer before I had fought Levi. So coming off of my first professional win, I was going to go into a fight for legacy, but I ended up getting injured and fracturing my jaw. And they wired me shut. They didn't put no metal plates or anything like that. So I was wired shut for about 6 to 8 weeks, and I had no solid foods or anything of that sort. Then it healed up, and I went to go fight Levi Moles, and you know, in the first round, I got hit with a good shot. You know, I give that guy all the props in the world. He hit me with a good shot, and it rung my bell. You know, I didn't know I broke my jaw until once I was coming into the second round, and I felt it move around a little bit, and whenever I spit, you know, it was nothing but like blood, and you know, and it was excruciating pain going in the middle of the second round. You know, that's whenever the adrenaline started wearing down and my body started breaking down on me. You know, so yeah, I've been through a lot, and then having to pull out of fight. I was gonna fight Ryan Hollis on another card instead of Bellator, but I fractured my nose, and it was a pretty bad fracture where I had to get surgery on it. And then 2 weeks before I fought Ryan in Bellator, my father had passed away, and I was so overcome by emotions that I had hit something, and I ended up breaking my hand. You know, so like I've been through a lot of adversity and a lot of broken things, but you know, I'm just not gonna stop. You know, like it doesn't. Like, I love fighting. I love what I do, and it's a big passion for me. And I take it very seriously when it comes to me stepping in the cage. I want to get the win. And that whenever I fought Levi, you know, if I didn't believe I could beat him with a broken jaw, I didn't think I would be. I would have quit. You know, but I'm just in a very different category when it comes to everybody. And every one of these fighters, you know, some people, they get a broken jaw and they quit. I don't.
Yeah, I've seen it before. I've seen dudes take a hook to the jaw and you can hear it snap. And I think we saw one on a UFC event even call timeout and call off a fight before. You take mental tenacity and determination to another level. I can't imagine some of this.
And I just keep pushing forward. That's you know, and also what helps me out too. You know, get over these lumps is just seeing how, like, whenever I was raised, you know, seeing my mom and dad, you know, seeing what they were doing, struggling just to keep a roof over our heads, you know, and then it made me a little bit more hungry whenever it came to fighting. And then what made me even more hungry is, you know, whenever my dad was going through his cancer and seeing him go through the radiation and all the chemo, you know, seeing him not quit, you know, drove me to have more hunger, drove me to keep on going, you know, like it's one of these things that it's just I kind of, the examples that were given to me make me push forward. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have had growing up the great role models I had, you know, with my mom and my dad, and then having Coach Saul there. You know, it's all been a blessing.
And that's a lot of what pushes you. It helps bring you. What is the goal? What is the goal right now that you're working on besides getting a win at LFA? Do you see, is that title for LFA, is that a goal that you're working on right now?
That would be I would love that to be a goal. It's been a goal. I planned, you know, before a lot of things would happen, I planned on giving my father a belt. You know, I was about to say his belt because he deserved whatever belt I won, whatever I had got, whatever accolades I had got, I was gonna give it to him. You know, but because he was going through the cancer and everything, and I wanted to do that for him. But now it's for my mother. You know, it's for both of them. But now I'm making sure I'm getting my mom a belt. You know, wherever the belt comes from, I'm getting her title because she deserves it. You know, and the title won't be for me; it'll be for my mother, and you know that's what helps drive me a lot. You know, and if I get to the UFC, I'm getting them a UFC jersey. You know, that's, you know, I'm driven right now. I'm in a good place, and I want to keep going. I want to keep going as far as I can take it.
Martial arts has done a lot, it sounds like, for you.
Oh yeah. I would love a title, and I would love a UFC shot.
You were on the Bellator stage before. Would it also be a goal to get back there again?
Yeah, that would be a goal. You see a lot of good competition going in there, but if you whenever I'm looking at it right now, LFA is starting to bring a lot more eyes to TV right now. Even though the Bellator has some really good fights going on, I just feel like the better competition would be with LFA. They're bringing some people all around the world, same as Bellator, so they're making a run for it. But the UFC is the big leagues, and that's where I'd like to go.
And talking about people wanting that LFA bantamweight title, just the last event, there was a featherweight fight, but Ray Rodriguez said he wants to jump down there. What do you see in the competition of the other people around the LFA looking for that 135 division?
Let them come down. Let them. The 25ers can move up, 45ers can move down. It just doesn't matter to me. Anybody who comes down and wants to fight in my division, we can put the gloves on and go at it. No in particular names, but I'm focused on Domingo. But after that fight, my schedule's open.
Looking at this fight coming up, what do you think is something that's going to define the two of you that puts this in your favor?
I believe mind over matter. I think that me being mentally tough will take me a long way. We both have great skills. He has good striking. I have good striking. He has good wrestling. I have really good wrestling. He has good jiu-jitsu. I have good jiu-jitsu. We all have the things to be good fighters. I just feel that I'm a little bit more mentally tough than what he is. I've been through a lot more. I've been through a lot in my life, and I just feel with the experiences I've had, it pushes me to be a lot better and a lot better and push a lot more.
When you have those personal experiences and you do have that rough stuff, is it easier to step into a cage and to say, this isn't so big, this isn't so overwhelming?
That's exactly how I felt whenever I stepped into that Bellator cage. Whenever I fought, I had a 3-1 record going against a veteran of the sport who's fought people like Matt Schnell, who had Matt Schnell in their records. So a lot of people would break under pressure, but me, I thrived off of it. I like just looking back and see what all would happen. Like I had lost one of the best things that ever had. One of my role models, an idol, a couple weeks before that fight, I went in there and I was calm, and life is so big and so long, but that 15 minutes is like a second compared to your whole life, So it just made it a little bit for me like a lot more easier just to get over. It didn't overwhelm me. It just better fighter.
Friday, March 24th, LFA 7 in Houston, Texas. Adrian Yanez, I got to thank you for the time. Could you let everybody know how they can follow you on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter, Yanez, MMAYANEZ, MMA. I'm also on Instagram. My full name, Adrian Yanez, 93 on Instagram, and you can friend request me on Facebook. I got a little picture with me and my dad loving me up before I go out to fight. So you're more than welcome to friend me.
And then, last but not least, anybody you need to thank or shout out to?
I have to thank my family who's been there and supported me through thick and thin. We've stuck together since the beginning, and they constantly keep pushing me, constantly want me to do better for myself. And also I had to thank Coach Charles Solis. He's helped me get to this point. My mother and my father helped get me to this point, and he's helped push me in a good direction. So I'm happy and I'm blessed to have the people I have in my life. And Coach Saul, my mom, my dad especially, they have the biggest. They will always get the biggest things from me.
Again, LFA 7 on Access TV. I implore everyone to tune in. Outside of the UFC, it's the best show in the world. Again, Adrian, thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. I'm honored.